Howdy, everybody. Welcome in. And this is Coach Hiawatha Hickman with the West Orange Stark Mustangs. Coach, it's an honor to have you in here.
How you doing? It's good to be here.
Yes,
good to be here.
Excited, man. I'm excited to have you in, mostly because I want to talk about that Jasper win, man.
Hey, it was a great win for us. Kids, we came back from a big deficit. Kids kept fighting. They did what I asked them to do at halftime, just stay in the fight. And we figured we could get some things done, get some adjustments made on defense, and and everything played out just how I planned it.
That's what I like to hear.
No doubt.
This is okay. So this is your third season. This is your first win against Jasper, and this is West Orange Stark first win over Jasper since 2021. So already knocking that monkey off your back. How does that feel? Well,
it feels good. That's always been a rivalry in Southeast Texas. I mean, you can go back and look at the history of that game. A lot of things have been decided between that, that Jasper and West Orange Stark game. And, we hadn't had a success even when I was assistant coach. Last couple of times we went up there, we got beat. We went up there 2 years ago and it didn't go our way. But, we just talked about our kids. It's just, it's a testament to where we are now. To go up there, get behind, kids continue to push and fight back from a big deficit like that, 2-score deficit to win the game and on the last play. That's our motto for the year. Every second counts, and it just makes that rings even louder and louder.
That's kind of what I wanted to talk about too. Is like that how that deficit was there to begin with, and then at halftime, and you kind of touched on it there at the beginning. But I really want to dig into what was said at halftime to get them to do what they did in the second half. Because I remember looking at the score early, and I was like, "Wow, Jasper's ahead of West Orange." And the next time I look at it, y'all end up winning the dadgum game.
Yeah, we knew they hadn't stopped us on offense. We stopped ourselves with some turnovers. We had a muff kickoff that gave them good field position. And defensively, we knew that they would take some shots. I mean, you go play Jasper. They had really good receiver, quarterback throws the deep ball well. They got a 6'7" tight end that you could throw it to, jump over anybody. So we knew they would take some shots. We just didn't know they would hit all three in the beginning. So the second half, we kind of got away from our man coverage, got into a lot more zone coverage, and got some people over the top to help those guys out and said, hey, we're going to do what we do, play our defense. We held them to 1 score the second half. And offensively, we just knew that, hey, they hadn't stopped us all night, so we were going to be able to move the ball. So I just told my guys at halftime, hey, let's just get some stops. We just start counting the punts. We get the punt here, punt there, get our offense the ball, get a couple scores, we back in this thing. And
you said it right there. You said it right there, talking about how you held them to 1 score in the second half. And one of the things I was going to talk about is you were 4-0 since that week 2 loss, close loss to Nederland. And in that game, you can argue you just didn't finish in that second half. You didn't do the things you were supposed to, but you've learned since then. So what has been the difference since that game and your success that you've seen over this 4-0 streak?
I mean, it's just the growth in the kids. It's the growth in the program. It's the growth in myself. I'm a third-year head coach, and I'm learning as we go. And we've had a lot of those games. I think before, not that game or the Newton game, and some other games that we were able to come back and do some things in. We were like 1-8 in 1-score games. And we talked about that last year in district. We lose to Jasper in overtime. We lose to Hampshire in overtime. We play Silsbee to a 1-score game. So that's something that we focused on in the offseason, being able to finish, making the plays at the right time. Just like that the other night, our quarterback sitting in there being composed, finding Amirian Scott on the route in the corner of the end zone. Probably the last throw we wanted him to throw, but he just felt comfortable with it, and he just dropped it in there, and we made the play. 2 years ago, we wouldn't have done that. We wouldn't have done that. We probably would have scrambled and wouldn't have done that, but we believed in our offensive line to protect him. We believed in the receiver to run the correct route. We hit him with the ball when we were supposed to. And, it's just growth. It's just growth as a team, as a program. It's just growth and getting to the point where we can win games like this.
Perfect segue into the next question, Coach, because you talked about how the belief is starting to change. You talked about how your quarterback is more comfortable in the system. This obviously being your third year, this is your first year starting in District 1-0. You got that off your back as well. So you're starting on the right streak. It kind of seems like right now that West Orange is really starting to morph into the vision that you had seen fit when you first took the job. So tell me a little bit about why that comfortability is starting to move into this program and your players are really starting to gel and understand what it is you're trying to preach to them.
I mean, West Orange, it's a proud program. We've won a lot of football games, won a lot of things. I don't know if I wanted to change, anything that we've done in the past, but, it's just about kids. It's about players, and I've been there. We've had really great players, and we've had players that make plays in those opportunities. And any coach will tell you now these days, I mean, you got to teach kids. Sometimes that's something that has to be taught. You know, you didn't used to have to teach that, but sometimes you got to teach that in today's game because kids, you know, have so many other things going on, and that's what we've done. We've tried to emphasize the situational part of it, you know, and understanding what to do at certain moments. And when you can't assume anything. You got to teach them everything, and that's what I've tried to do the last 3 years because kids are different, things are different, and you know we're trying to push forward to that. And you know, being 1-0 for the first time in district seems like every year we get a real tough one the first district ball game, and that goes back, like I say, it goes back to last year. You know, losing those games by 1 score. I mean, we in them all. You know, and that's our plan. You know, we're gonna get in and we're gonna fight to the end and make this thing turn our way. Make it turn our way.
What are some of the key players that you could say right now that have really started to take the mantle of what you're giving to them and running with it to help you move this program forward?
And it all starts back with our seniors. You know, they were sophomores when I started. I think we started 11 of them, and those seniors have bought into the program. The other night at halftime, you know, Marion Scott, number 2, my outside backer wide receiver, and that guy was louder than me at halftime saying, hey, just believe, we're going to make plays, this thing's going to work out. Our quarterback was the same way. We have an offensive line with some veterans on it, Denham Maribo, and other guys up front that's been around this program for a while, and they starting to understand, hey, you got to speak up, you got to lead, you got to take the lead, and those guys are taking the lead in that. So it's just not the coaches talking, it's the players talking, and like I've always told them, you know, and you know, in 2016, you know, when we went undefeated and won a state championship, you know, we could all, you know, Coach Thompson used to say all the time, you know, this group self-polices itself. They hold everybody accountable. You know, we used to make the statement that, hey, we could go in there and sit down and those guys would go out there and they practice on their own, you know. And I feel like I got a group that's approaching that point that, hey, they're going to take care of their business.
And you look forward into this season, you know, you talked about right there with the difference in what 2016 West Orange Stark, and you talked about this historic program and what they've been able to do. Well, you've done well this year, right? You started 1-0, but this is a very tough district. Hampshire Finette, we know, has gotten plenty of offensive weapons at their disposal, and then Silsbee on top of that, they have a great team as well. What is it going to take to keep the foot on the gas the rest of the way? I know you don't want to go looking too far. You got to go week by week. But what is going to be the key driving force in the rest of the way?
Well, it's the Mustang way. We just got to do it the Mustang way. Hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to get our plan together, and, you know, we're going to go out there on Friday and execute that plan. And I think we've got to the point where, you know, we faced one hurdle with Jasper. I mean, that's Jasper. Jasper's got athletes. I mean, Hampshire, I mean, they've got athletes all over the field. They could throw it all over the place. But we'll have a plan. We'll go over there and do it our way. We're going to play defense, and, you know, we got a big offensive line. We're going to run the football. We're gonna hold them accountable for stopping us as well, and we're gonna get on there and try to get after them on defense and special teams and do what we do. I mean, we're used to this level of competition. I mean, I think everybody in this district has had to rise to our level, and in the last few years we hadn't got there. It's because they've, you know, testament to them. You know, Randy does a good job. Coach Wagner does a good job. Coach Crum does a good job, and those guys got athletes, and they've risen their level. So hey, we got to match that and take it beyond. You know, and it's taken, you know, us 2 years to get there, but hey, we're going to give them everything we got.
That's what I like to hear, Coach.
No doubt.
There's the one other thing I wanted to ask, because you made me kind of interested in asking this as well, because we talk about West Orange Stark, and you talk about how they have great programs in this district, you know, but it almost seems like that when these teams beat West Orange, it's like the Super Bowl, because they know how talented you guys are. They know what you've been before. So beating West Orange is almost like you're the precipice, right? You're this level.
Yes.
You are the target. So playing with the target on your back, knowing you're West Orange Stark, and going out there and playing your style of football, how do you keep all the tension at bay with your kids?
Well, that's what we got to get them to understand, because when we roll the town, when the WS rolls the town, it's everybody's Super Bowl. You know, we rolled into Jasper the other day. You know, we're going to get Jasper's best effort. Every team, you know, like on Sundays, my guys are working, watching film today. You know, we watch people on film, and we kind of look at them and say, yeah, you know, those guys are okay. And then we got to go back and look and say, what is their effort going to be like when they play West Orange? Because they're going to raise their effort. We're going to get their best shot. We're going to get their coaches is going to give their best plan, because of the history of the program. And I think we've instilled that into our kids, that we got to understand that. And I said that the other night. You know, I told those guys, hey, we knew we was going to get their best shot. They're giving it to us. So let's go out there, settle down, do what we do. And it worked out for us.
I'm excited to watch you guys the rest of the way, Coach. Yeah. It's been a pleasure having you in
here.
Thank you.
Yes, Thank you.
It's been
Enjoy.
Awesome.
Enjoy.
And hey, we wish you luck the rest of the way this year. I'm sure we're going to find ourselves at Game of the Week with West Orange Stark, another at one point in this season. But, Coach,
No
I
doubt.
appreciate
No
you
doubt.
having us. We'll see you guys next week.